Hey everyone, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the show where we discuss any issues or challenges you may be having. The concern we are handling in this segment comes from Rosey Julz, and it reads, I've recently been getting picked on a good bit at school by this boy, and I'm friends with his best friend. I honestly don't know how to react when he's being rude, and I want to be friends with him.
What do you say about that? Do you want me to reread that? Because I read it in segments and it was kind of weird.
No, it's cool. I'm reading it right now too. I found it.
I don't believe you.
I can look at the words too.
I don't think you can read, Joe.
I don't think I can read.
I think that your pretending is really amazing. You just pretend to read and it's so good of a pretend that it's like
you
legit.
should see me with a book.
I bet you look so smart.
I fake it so well. It's amazing.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, so there are a couple possibilities here. Okay, this is really going to be awful of me. I think you guys are going to think less of me. Hopefully not. But I remember, depending on the age, and actually, you know, I've seen grown men act this way as well.
Oh yeah.
However, you've been getting picked on a good bit at school by this boy. You're friends with his best friend. You know how to react when he's being rude. Wants to be friends. I can remember there was this girl that this was when I was way younger. I was in like early high school, I think. And
That was like 3 years ago.
I know that was tough. I don't want you guys to think I'm super old, but you know, you see my face now, so cat's out of the bag now. And we heard the cat earlier at the very beginning of the stream. It's out of the bag. At any rate, I remember I had a thing for this girl. I really, really liked her. I thought she was beautiful and gorgeous, and I just really thought, man, if she was my girlfriend, it would be awesome. And, dude, I picked on her like nobody else's business and said rude statements, mean statements, all kinds of stuff. And I did all that because I liked her. Imagine if I'd have hated her. I probably just wouldn't have talked to her. Probably wouldn't have even noticed or anything. But so just the fact that this guy's noticing you, one possibility is he really likes you. He doesn't know how to express his feelings because, you know, we're guys and guys don't know anything about feelings, you know, as much. You know, like we are absolutely so far down the scale compared to girls when it comes to expressing feelings. You know, it's just one of the ways that we seem to be a little bit different. But so that's a possibility. Another possibility is because you're friends with his best friend, maybe he feels a little bit threatened, you know, and he doesn't want you to, you know, take his best friend. Oh, Rosie is unlikable.
That's so not true. Okay, Rosie, you're cute and adorable. Everybody thinks so. You just shh. It's all right.
Yeah. So at any rate, but maybe he feels threatened. Maybe he feels like he's scared he's going to lose his best friend to this girl. You know, which that could be a possibility too. But
what was that?
That maybe he feels like he's going to lose his best friend
To
this girl that's friends with his best friend. He feels jealous. So that's a possibility too. So and without knowing which one it is, it's kind of tough to react. So I think, man, and it's tough being a guy. I mean, I guess you could ignore him. That's one reaction. You could just be super nice to him. That's another way you could do. What's another reaction you could have? What's another possibility? Ryan. Oh yeah, you could be mean. You could be nice. You could ignore him.
Okay, yeah, you could. I mean, there's a lot of different activities you could do, but they all fall under whether you're nice or mean or just accepting,
Right.
although it's kind of more like ignoring because you don't really want to just accept someone being mean.
Yeah. You could come out and just, I mean, sometimes it takes this. Sometimes you could just be like, hey, man, what's your problem?
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes
Yeah.
something sounds mean, but really you're just trying to get to the bottom of it, or you're just trying to. Tough love is a real thing. You don't hate them, but you just like you gotta whip them into shape. You gotta be like, dude, you're totally doing it wrong. Stop it.
Right. So maybe, well, you want to be friends with him. So that's good. It's good for us to be friends with as many people as we can. And so your attitude is at least in the right place. Even though this person is acting rudely to you, by you just still wanting to be friends with this person, that tells me something about where your heart is, and that's a good place. So don't stop wanting to be friends with this person necessarily. But there does come a point. Now, I don't know the specific examples of this guy's behavior, but there does come a point when you sometimes have to say, hey, I don't appreciate being treated like this. I would like to be friends with you. Could we just be friends? And then maybe if you're going to do that, you almost have to separate yourself from taking anything he does personally. And you have to treat it like it's an experiment. So rather than taking it personally, like he says something, like you're going to say something to him, he says something back, and rather than you being offended or crying or whatever, or being hurt by his reaction, treat it like an experiment where you throw something out there just to see what the reaction is going to be. And and your whole intent is just to see how the reaction is. And then you can kind of see, okay, maybe you can kind of get to the bottom of why he's being rude, whether it's because he has a thing for you, or whether he's jealous because he doesn't like you being friends with his best friend, or some other reason. Maybe he truly doesn't like you, but I don't think that's probably the case. I think from just interacting with you here and seeing what you've typed on here, you try to, doesn't do anything to stop, and then it still hurts. Yes, I understand that it does hurt, but if you can step back and guard your heart a little bit, and then get into the position of reading the reaction, then maybe you can get to the bottom of why it's happening. So then when you learn that, then you can kind of start to respond more appropriately based on how this person feels. So that's kind of how I would approach that, I guess. Ryan, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think you really touched on it all. There's not really a whole lot more I could add. It's, you can't, unfortunately, you can't pick what another person does. I remember I was on this game online, and it was Ragnarok online. It was a decent sized server with like 200 or so people on it, and everybody knew who I was. This is kind of the experience that helped me to learn about how to make friends. And this is a couple of things I took away from the whole thing. The first thing is this: when it comes to dealing with people, what matters most is not what you look like to them. What matters most is what they look like to themselves when you're around them. You see, Joe is an amazing guy. One of the things, though, that initially made me like him so much when we first met was that he made me feel like I was awesome. Because he took time to point out things in me that I cared about that he said were good. Like, hey, you know, I think it's awesome that you don't care that you have long hair. You just like, you know, you just let people judge you and you're cool with it because you don't care. And I'm like, thanks, man. You know, that was a good compliment. Or, you know, whatever he wanted to say, you know, there was all sorts of different things. And, you know, when I apply that to people, you know, it was really hard at first because I was super shy. I didn't really, well, really the most of the issue was with myself was I had a really super low self-esteem, and I was worried about what people would think about me if I said anything. So I just didn't say anything at all. Or if I did, it was rare or only to a couple of people, etc. But then when I learned about this truth, that it doesn't matter what you look like to them, it only matters what they look like to themselves.
Yes.
I started taking time to compliment different people in my class. Like anything I noticed that I liked about them, I compliment people on their pants. I was like, hey, I like your pants. I think they look pretty cool. Where'd you get them? And then they would be like, oh, I don't know. My mom got them for me. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then my relationship with that person, completely different. That person might have said mean things about me before. They didn't care to anymore. You know, I had lots of bullies. And when I finally just decided to laugh at their jokes that were even about me and tell them that they were a funny person, and say, hey, you want to, you know, like hang out sometime? Giving them the idea that I liked them or that they were cool people, or that they were funny and etc. gave them what they wanted. And that made our relationships a lot stronger. So yeah, it's a lot about not worrying about what you look like, because you look as you look. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you take time to let someone else know that they look good, or that making people feel like they're a good person, making people feel proud of themselves. If you make someone like who they are when you're around them, they're going to want to be around you more because they like feeling good about themselves. Everyone does. Everyone likes feeling good about themselves. Everyone likes being proud of what they've done. And if you rejoice in that, that'll make them want to be around you more.
Kind of takes all the steam out of the insults too.
Yeah, it really does.
Like Ryan was saying, hey, you know, takes all the fight out of the chicken, I guess, you know. If that's even a thing.
Fried chicken.
But yeah, exactly what Ryan was saying. Like, if you can make them feel good about themselves, holy cow, how powerful is that?
Now, there was one person this didn't work on. This is the original reason I was pointing back to when I was online and had a bunch of friends online. There was one person who said, I don't like you. And I said, oh. And I was like, well, you know, then to myself, I was like, all right, let's try to make this relationship a little bit better, because I don't want him disliking me and I want to be friends with him. He seems like a fine guy. And so I took time to communicate with him, and we communicated on a mutual level with, you know, we weren't yelling at each other or insulting each other. But at the end of the day, he always said he didn't like me and that he would never like me. And the reason for that was because everyone liked me, and he didn't like that everybody liked me, and he wanted to be the one guy that didn't. So in some cases, you might have the individual who is set on not liking someone just for the fact that they don't want to like them. And there's no logical or subconscious, illogical, emotional, anything reason beyond they are set in their ways. And so to those people, who cares? That's silly.
You gotta learn to let go. You will drive yourself absolutely crazy if you try to get that person to like you.
Yes.
You know?
Right. Yeah, you just gotta let go. You just gotta be like, whatever, man. I don't care then. You know?
Yes.
If it's nothing I do.
So it's a fits. Some people are just stubborn.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's exactly right. It is, you know, I don't care. I know it's gonna be better, but I don't care. I'm not moving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think we all do that from time to time. We all have our issues, so we all do stupid stuff. So, I mean, you can't really judge him. I mean, you just like, you know what? He's a human, and I totally understand. I I've done that before. So whatever. You know, it's just gonna be as it is, and I'll move on. You know. So hopefully one of those methods works out for you. But yeah, we've done the best we can to help you. Hopefully you can do the best you can to help yourself and the other person in the situation. Yeah. And,
Absolutely.